Hello and welcome back to the Give and Go. We are talking round of 16 AFC Asian Cup today. Make sure to subscribe to join the community as we continue covering this beautiful tournament over in Asia. And let's get right into it. To start off the round of 16, we had Australia face off against Indonesia, a team that we've both been on a crazy journey with as we've covered this entire tournament. Their magical run coming down to this specific moment, facing off against a potential World Cup participant in Australia in this round of 16. And brother, did we get a game here with Australia, winning by a good margin here, 4-0.
Yeah, this game honestly went pretty much exactly how I expected it to. Australia have a very defensive-minded team, but they have the experience to go forward and beat, pretty much anybody at this tournament. Indonesia have proven to play up to a very high level this tournament, and at a level I don't think anyone really expected them to, unless you're Indonesian and you knew how good this team could be. And honestly, I think knowing all that, you're definitely frustrated by that first goal that Australia scored, man.
You have to be.
Within the first, 10, 12 minutes. Jackson Irvine, once again, being the source of another massive goal for Australia. But, man, it takes a really big deflection off of Baggett, and it sneaks in near post. Australia get a nice early lead 1-0. And it was frustrating because up until that point, Indonesia, as I just said, were playing at Australia's level. It really was just a battle in that midfield. But yeah, Australia with a nice little lucky goal, 1-0. And on Indonesia, from the beginning, pretty much were down that goal, and then they had to go at Australia.
No, that was the game right there, essentially, because in this first half, bro, I really felt that Indonesia didn't do too much wrong. They got the game plan right, but then Jackson Irvine gets one of the scrappiest goals we'll see, essentially an own goal in this game, with Australia going up 1-0. And yeah, afterwards, Australia gets a second goal before the half, Martin Boyle getting on the board. And it just felt like going into the halftime that, this game was kind of over for Indonesia, that they would just try to play the rest of the game out, try their best, try to get that experience in this tournament. And the thing is, I think that's okay. I think that's okay at the end of the day. We've talked about it. I've talked about it with how Indonesia being at this stage of the tournament is overall a victory for them. The fact they're even here, they made it this far, being one of the few Southeast Asian teams to even qualify into this part of the tournament is a really special thing. It just sucks that overall Australia does have more quality, more experience, and more grit. And I do think after this 4-0 result, that completely showed. Like you said, it's what we expected. It's what we thought would happen. And at the end of the day, you got to be proud about Indonesia, but also satisfied if you're an Australian.
Yeah, and for large portions of the game, Indonesia actually had a lot of the ball. Justin Hubner, Ivar Jenner have been fantastic at this tournament, and they were excellent today. If you think about it, possession-wise, those two midfielders are probably better than Australia's midfield. Jackson Irvine and his two partners are definitely way more defensive-minded, but that adds to that feature that Australia succeed in so well, being impenetrable at the back. Because even though Indonesia did have a lot of the ball, they were limited to solely chances from outside the box. They could not get into Australia's 18. And yeah, that's where Australia won this game, was on that defensive end, because Indonesia couldn't stretch them, they couldn't break through them, and they just couldn't find any meaningful penetration, even though they played a decent game. As you said, they really didn't do that much wrong. But just to add a little bit more to that second goal, dude, what a lovely delivery from Jones, man. And I loved the way that Martin Boyle met the ball. Beautiful diving header, just crashing into the ball. 2-0, and yeah, that goal definitely put it away. Right before the halftime, I was like, okay, this game's over. There's no way Indonesia have the energy to get 2 goals in the second half against Australia, because we knew Australia would just kind of sit back knowing that they can just protect a 2-0 lead. And yeah, as you said, they ended up getting 2 more bonus goals to make it 4-0. But yeah, a really good tournament for Indonesia. I thought this was a good performance, but yeah, they made a really good team in Australia who have a game plan and they executed it well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think for myself, though, when I look at this Australian team, now that this is the 4th time I've seen them play at this tournament, even though the scoreline says 4-0, I do think I'm officially out on this Australian team. I'm out on them. I don't see them lifting the title. I don't see them being contenders for the title. This game was tough to get a read on because of that scrappy first goal. Once they went up 1-0, the game was completely shifted, and we didn't get to see Australia truly tested. But I think the fact that it was so that, you know, Indonesia, the fact that Indonesia was able to play up to their level for a good 30 minutes in this match, say even the first half in full if you want to. I think the fact that Australia doesn't seem to be able to crack a team until a crazy balance or a crazy opportunity is presented to them. I just don't see enough fluidity. I don't see enough creativity offensively for this team that when you translate that over to playing against the elite sides in Asia, that they'll be able to match. Defensively, they're great, and I really have noticed that. That's definitely one of their strongest suits. But even if they make it to the semis, even if they make it to the finals, I think from here on out, I'm probably going to pick against Australia because something about this team just doesn't fully excite me or convince me when it comes to lifting the AFC Asian Cup.
Yeah, Australia are misleading, I think, because they don't dazzle. They don't play an exciting version of offensive football, yet they're honestly probably still a top 3 team in Asia. And I'm actually going to say that they could lift this title.
They did the opposite for you in this game?
No, not enough that it's convincing, but it's enough to where I'm like, on any given day, over 90 minutes, they can beat any team in Asia. They can. And if they just play it right, they cancel out their opponent's offense, there's a chance that they get a goal off of a Harry Suter header in the 80th minute and they win a game 1-0 against a Japan or a Korea, a Saudi Arabia. I could easily see that. And another thing for Australia, why they're so misleading, is that the average base level of Australia is actually pretty high. Like for a player perspective, pound for pound, if you pit Australia against most teams in Asia, they're probably better than you in pretty much every single position, but not by a large margin, but it's enough to just beat you. I think the only way you can beat this Australian team is to have an elite offense, which does exist in this tournament. We've seen Iraq, Iran, Korea at times, Japan at times play very high levels of offense, but Australia is very experienced at defending teams like that. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not saying this team's going to go all the way and definitively win this. I am just saying that Australia at this point, they have a lot of talent and they can beat anybody, man. They really can.
Sure. No, sure. I hear you. Yeah. But I'm completely against it this time around now. I'm fully convinced. I've gone off the deep end, brother. I've gone off the deep end. I'm out on this Australian team. And so the moment they lose, I'm done, bro. I'm going off on this team, man.
But saying they get to the semis means that they're pretty good, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They're like a really good team and can lift the title.
Of course. And that's why I think I'm not ruling them out even getting to the final. I'm saying that every single game I'm going to pick against them from here on out because I don't see this team lifting the title. But yes, everything you said was already true. I agree. Australia is a team of that strength. They are very good. But I just don't see it happening against an Iran, a Japan who makes it to the final. If they do, will by that time be fully informed and fully evolved. And also you can throw in Iraq if they continue the magical run. You could throw in even a team like South Korea if they figure shit out against Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah.
I think these teams will be able to reach a higher echelon than Australia because what I've seen from Australia offensively hasn't been convincing to me with the way they've gotten these scrappy, sometimes even lucky goals in this tournament against pretty weak opponents.
Yeah, okay, yeah. With that being said, I do agree. One criticism I have for Australia, and it was in my preview too, they have no midfield creation, man. Like literally zero. Their only point of attack, it's pretty one-dimensional. It's just on the flanks, overloading the fullbacks and then using the wingers. Boyle and Jones on the right-hand side, Bose on the left wing side who's getting the start right now, and Behic and the left back. Like that's it. It's just those 4 guys. Everyone else is just mainly focused on defense. So yeah, I agree. If they play in Iran, they play in Japan, I'm definitely choosing those teams over Australia.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say here about this matchup is for my Indonesians. I want to look straight into this camera, and I want to say thank you, Indonesia, for a hell of a tournament. What a ride it's been. It's been full of ups and downs, moments where I thought I was right, moments where I found out I was wrong with Indonesia, losing to Iraq, but then beating Vietnam in a crazy, crazy stellar match. Making it this far to round 16, something I truly applaud. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I've seen on Indonesian YouTube, I found the videos I was featured in, and I saw the way that these people spoke about me, but at the same time, respected my opinion at the end of the day. And I'm thankful for that. So with that being said, I thought the perfect way to end this Indonesian relationship I've formed, given that this probably will be the last time we talk about them in this tournament, is that I will go and buy an Indonesia jersey. I will go and buy a jersey and I will wear it here on this podcast for all of you Indonesians to see just how far my journey has been from going a complete doubter in this Indonesian squad, from calling them TikTokers at one point, to then wearing their jersey here on this podcast as a sign of respect and admiration, because this team is exciting. And I think that, you know, maybe it didn't work out for them here in the round of 16 against Australia, but 2027 Asian Cup could happen. Something special could happen there. And if not, man, then maybe 2030 World Cup. By this time, these players will be just now nearing like the age of 30. I think there's a chance that this team could do something worth noting in the game of football in the years to come. So congratulations to them. They are, like I said before, ahead of schedule. And it ends with the loss here, 4-0 against Australia, but nothing to hang your heads on. This was a good tournament overall from Indonesia, and they should be absolutely proud. A match rating for this one, though, I'm going to go 6.3. 6.3 for me.
Yeah, I'm giving it 6.5.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of action here, but it's just due to the insane sturdiness of Australia's defense.
Oh, yeah, man. Stubborn, bro. Stubborn, bro. They're not nice. And the final match of the day was a historic one, my friend, with Tajikistan facing off against the UAE, a game, the only game in the round of 16 where we actually didn't agree on in terms of who would win this game. You picking Tajikistan, me going with UAE. Ends 1-1 in regulation, goes over to extra time, all the way to penalties, and Tajikistan buries all 5 of their penalties to win this game 5-3. Your immediate reaction with Tajikistan making it to the quarterfinals on their debut.
Yeah, what a magical run Tajikistan is on. A dramatic late win against Lebanon to even qualify for this round of 16. And once again, they leave it as late as they possibly can to defeat the UAE. But a historic moment for this Tajikistan side, as they will now play in the quarterfinals. The top 8 sides they have put themselves in this AFC Asian Cup in their debut. But my goodness, bro, it did not have to be like this. It did not have to go to penalties. I'm going to cut to the 60th minute. Where over the span of, I'm going to say like 10 minutes, Tajikistan crafted 4 goal-scoring opportunities and did not put a single one away. And I'm going to go ahead and list them out right now, dude. They win the ball in the midfield, and there's a wide-open Jalilov, and they overdo the pass. That's one. Then they win it back in the midfield again. This time they actually do get the ball to Jalilov, but he doesn't have the pace. The defenders catch up to him and he can't get a clean shot off. The third chance, once again, beautiful build-up on the left-hand side. Slip ball into Jalilov, and he just does not connect with it, man. Fast forward like 5-6 minutes later, a really nice penetration move on the right-hand side from the Tajikistani player, drills it across the box. Jalilov wide open to just put it in, make it 2-0. And he just does not have the composure. Simply does not have the composure. 4 huge chances for Tajikistan, which would have made it 2-0. There's no way the UAE would have come back from that. And then, yeah, it was those misses that actually bit Tajikistan, haunted them, because the UAE got a stoppage time equalizer off of a really nice free kick. But my goodness, man, Tajikistan should have made this 2, possibly even 3-0 before that equalizing goal. And overall, even with those missed chances, even with it going to penalties ultimately, Tajikistan were the better side today.
Oh, easily, bro. I found myself rooting for this team. Given that I had predicted against them, after 30 minutes in this match, it was clear Tajikistan was the better team, the more motivated side. And I thought overall, Peter Seeger, I thought he got it right. He got it absolutely right today. If Jalilov could finish one of those opportunities, he'd be looking like an absolute genius right now. With the way he planted his team in that second half and took on that pressure from UAE, where all UAE could really do was just pass it around the box, bro. It was 45 minutes of just slinging crosses in that were pointless, trying to generate some opportunities and not achieving anything. And what I loved about Tajikistan was that when they were on the counter, when they were given those opportunities to surprise UAE, they were very effective and ready to go, man. It wasn't those type of teams or those type of moments where you saw like a counterattack happen and it's only one man up going by himself. Every time Tajikistan countered, it was one guy up top and 2 wing players right there with him to form like a 3v2 or a 3v3. And that was so beautiful to see. And it generated the opportunities that you just beautifully listed through. The only problem here is that Jalilov doesn't know how to fucking finish, man. Good Lord.
It's concerning.
And it's concerning,
dude.
Because if they can execute the same plan in all the future games, they can be an actual threat. The problem is they have to prove to these teams that they are threatening on the counter. Otherwise, These teams aren't going to be worried about pressing them and sending their men up because they won't be punished for it the way that UAE ultimately wasn't, dude. Yeah. And just to quickly highlight, I want to talk about that lone goal that Tajikistan got in this game because that was a historic moment with Hanonov. Yeah. After 30 minutes in this match, Hanonov, the Tajiki center back who looks like he would have ran the disco scene in the 80s, looks like Sean O'Malley's Tajikistan brother, goes up for the ball like Victor Wembanyama and fucking dunks that shit, bro, with a beautiful golazo header off of a very slow but floating cross, puts it into that bottom left corner where Khalid, my boy Khalid, couldn't get to it. Scenes, bro. Scenes with a center back up that deep into the offensive point of the pitch and scores a beautiful goal to make it 1-0. What was your reaction when you saw Tajikistan go up?
Oh, dude, so emotional because they hadn't really crafted a really golden opportunity up until that point. They were pressing for sure, and they finally got rewarded. And it was a center back who actually delivered it to his partner center back in Hanonov, Juraboev, with a nice little floating ball. And as you said, Hanonov met it so well. And you could see the emotion, Seger getting off the bench, the entire team running to Hanonov. And Hanonov, after the celebration, had some tears in his eyes, knowing that they just made history, scoring a knockout stage goal. Not only that, but to take the lead in what was this crazy huge match against the UAE.
Yeah, man. Beautiful moment, man. And I thought this would be a storybook game. Like, I thought it would be drama-free, even going to like the 85th minute, because it just looked like it was so in control for Tajikistan. Yeah. But then that set-piece goal from UAE ties it up, and frustrating. In additional time, I think it was like the 93rd minute, they managed to tie it.
I was so upset, dude. When that went in, first off, the foul to led up to that set piece was a little soft in my opinion. Don't really think it should have been called. But again, the delivery from Al-Sela was fantastic. A drilled in ball that had a lot of pace on it. And yeah, it was found by the UAE player to put it away. But I was so frustrated because, like you said, Tajikistan for the last 20 minutes, even though the UAE were going for it, they looked in control. They looked fine defensively. Hanonov, who did get that goal, was amazing defensively all game long. So it really hurt me when that goal was put in, because I was just like, damn, dude, it shouldn't even be 1-1. It should be 2-3-1 at the very least. Tajikistan should have been fine. So, dude, I was just so upset going in extra time, and I honestly really nervous going into penalties because I was just like, God damn it, like it shouldn't even gotten to this point. But luckily, Tajikistan stayed calm, put away all 5 penalties. So ultimately, it did not matter. But for the UAE, man, their only true threat this entire match was Yaya, the left winger, when they overload on the right-hand side and found him on the ISO, switch it over to him. That's about it. He did hit the post at one point, but other than him, man, UAE really didn't have anything to show offensively. I thought it was a waste to put Caio Canedo as a number 9. He's too talented on the ball to be starting in such an advanced position up the pitch, because then at that point he has to find the game when the game should come to him. So I think that was a waste. I think that was a mistake from Paulo Bento. Should have started Saleh instead and put Caio Canedo more in a midfield or wing position. But yeah, the UAE really didn't show much. They had a good start to the second half, but you know, as we said, Tajikistan were always up for it and canceled them out. So again, congratulations to Tajikistan with their best performance in the tournament so far. Just crazy,
dude.
Man.
Yeah. Things are looking magical for them, and yeah, man, I've never been more happy to be wrong, dude. Honestly, like this UAE side, they tricked me. They tricked me with that result against Hong Kong. Khalid got in my head, as I have an affinity for goalkeepers, man. I really do. Yeah. And so seeing him put on a great performance against Palestine, I was like, man, maybe this team is a team to watch. And then Iran beating them 2-1. But no, I've never been more glad, because Tajikistan fully deserved it. It was clear after a whole half of football that UAE doesn't have any offensive creativity or even just weapons overall. Yeah. And Tajikistan, man, they have heart. They have chemistry. They have a game plan, and they have a passionate coach behind them. They're the team that deserves to be in the top 8 of Asia, bro. I repeat, the top 8 teams of Asia right now. Sir. Tajikistan is right there, man, and I couldn't be happier. Match rating for this one, I actually have it at a 7.3. I know people might think it should be higher based on the way that we just talked about it, but there was a lot of downtime in this game, man.
Oh,
there really was.
Oh, no,
and, extra time was basically just a highlight reel of injuries, man. Like, that's all that was. There wasn't even a single opportunity, man.
Dude, actually, yeah, that's a good point, though, and it's, I think, a point of concern for Tajikistan in the next game, because dude, they looked exhausted at the end of this match, man. So I think that's going to play a big factor no matter who they play in the quarterfinals. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a brutal end to the game, man. brutal. But yeah, I'm actually with you.
Yeah.
I gave this one a 7.2
Okay.
ultimately, only because Tajikistan showed up.
Yeah.
Like if Tajikistan didn't, this would have been a really bad game.
Yeah. All right, and tomorrow we have Iraq versus Jordan and Qatar versus Palestine. We already reviewed these games in a round of 16 preview, so go check that out, please, if you like. It's one of our best videos, in my opinion, I would say.
It's a fun one.
Please go check that out, and we will be back tomorrow with our review of both those matches. Best of luck to these teams, and once again, congratulations to Tajikistan, and congratulations Australia on qualifying to the quarterfinals of the AFC Asian Cup. Peace.